Hello again. Alfred Ezman, Chris Lee of Southeastern 14. We got old school Alfred Ezman with the Rays hat if you're watching that. That's great. I think we need a Wade Boggs or Fred McGriff jersey or something, but I'm liking the look there. Hope you like the analysis. We're going to get into all 7 series. We had 2 doubleheaders yesterday. As we're doing this Saturday morning, we will lead with those, and we'll talk about every game that was played in SEC baseball on Friday. Before we get there, reminder, this is presented by BetOnline, your number one source for all summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, NBA, and NHL playoffs. All the latest stats, news, scores available to follow, and also to follow your favorite teams. See the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to get in on all the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Well, let's start in Nashville, where I am. Vanderbilt in Florida have played 2 games. We're going to wrap up some Thursday games because we didn't do a video Friday. Actually, there was only 1 Thursday game. There were supposed to be 2, but A&M got rained out, so we'll get to that in that doubleheader that the Aggies had with Alabama here in a bit. But Vandy, Florida, what happened there? Thursday night, Vanderbilt wins 10-5. It gets 4 home runs from 4 guys, and then it got a really good start from Bryce Cunningham, who's been up and down of late but is very talented. For Florida, the story, Jack Caglione had his 8th home run or 8th game in a row with the home run, which put him in the NCAA record conversation. We'll get to how that resolved on Friday night, but Vandy gets the win in the opener there. Friday night's game, Carter Holton for Vanderbilt goes into the 5th with a perfect game, gives up a single, later gives up home runs to Brody Donay and Jack Caglione. So that's now 9 straight games in which Jack Caglione has homered. That ties an NCAA record. Unbelievable. The ball that he hit on Friday night, I was in the park for that one. It was, sometimes you see home runs that you're like, when you've watched thousands of baseballs, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of baseballs hit, off the bat, no doubt, and like within a millisecond of that one getting off his bat. It didn't go too far. I think it was 401 feet, but I felt like it was 1,000 feet in the air. That's the way he hits them. So congratulations to Jack Caglione for tying an NCAA record for games in a row with home runs. Unfortunately for the Gators, didn't really help them. Florida's got some real pitching problems. Pierce Coppola, who was a kid who could have gone to the 2022 draft, could have gone high, maybe first round, came to Florida instead. He's been out 2 years with injury. He started on Friday night with 1 2/3 through 40-something pitches, gave up 2 earned runs, those in the first inning. Florida then replaced him with Liam Peterson, who's been there 2, and he left the game after getting hit by a line drive, but on the same play, looked like he was clutching his forearm. That's never good. So Florida trying to get one key arm back. That didn't go great last night. May have lost another one in the meantime. For Vanderbilt, Jaden Davis 3 RBIs, and Alan Espinal, Vanderbilt's catcher, hits a home run for the second day in a row. Vanderbilt has taken the series with Florida with the Saturday game, which is at 2 Central to come. Alfred, let's talk about the other doubleheader. Texas A&M just ran through Vanderbilt like a buzzsaw last weekend. Went on the road where it's been tough to win in the league. No problem for the Aggies. I know that they were down 5 in game 1, came back with 10 unanswered, and then got the nightcap by a score of 18-9. Tell me what happened yesterday in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, well, it's a good welcome to the number 1 ranking for the Aggies. Ooh. They down early, 5-0. Right, it was really Ryan Prager too, which was kind of weird seeing him have a struggling start. 7 hits in 3 innings, 4 earned runs with that. But then the Aggie bullpen, Cortez and Sadao. Sorry if I butchered that. In the bullpen for Texas A&M, got it under control. They had 7 combined strikeouts and 1 earned run the rest of the way. And again, Alabama had that lead, but A&M just kept coming back with scoring play after scoring play. Braden Montgomery started it with a sac fly. Their catcher, Jackson Apple, big RBI double, and then a Caden Sorrell grand slam gave A&M the lead. And really, it was just all A&M from there. Braden Montgomery homered along with his sac fly he had earlier. Jackson Apple homered again, and Caden Sorrell homered again. So those three names really were all the
Wow.
offense A&M needed in game one. They got it done early and often. And then game two, pretty much a lot of other people got in on the scoring as well. Looking at what they did there, Jace Lavalette, 4 RBIs for him. Montgomery, 4 RBIs again. Hayden Schott, their designated hitter in the 18-9 win, 4 RBIs for him that game. Camarillo, 2 RBIs for him. Alabama kind of came back a little in the second inning. They had 4 runs in that inning to make it 8-4. So you felt like maybe the Tide can get one of their big hitting streaks back again. But A&M would just go on to score, 10 unanswered. Or not 10 unanswered, excuse me. They would go on to score 6 unanswered to make it 13-4, and a few more runs from Alabama. But really, A&M's batting just kept this doubleheader in control. And if I'm not mistaken, that earns them the series win.
Yeah. The top of their lineup, Grohovac, Lavalette, Montgomery, or when they get other guys hitting like Sorrell, who started to play some more. I mean, they're just good luck with those guys.
Right.
All right.
No, and their pitching,
on to the next.
Their pitching wasn't.
Go ahead.
Their pitching wasn't over the top either this weekend. So it was good to see their hitting kind of really just take control of that game their 2 games against Alabama yesterday.
Yeah. Prager's been a shutdown guy. Didn't happen, but their offense is so good it didn't matter. All right, speaking of bombs away, Georgia 17, Ole Miss 6, 7 innings. Slate Alford ends that one with a walk-off grand slam. He had 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. As Georgia run rules Ole Miss, Georgia in that park has just been incredible. 23-2 at Foley Field. Ball gets out there quickly, and with the lineup they've got guys who can hit it out of just about any park. That is bound to happen if your pitching isn't great and your defense isn't great. And the latter was certainly a problem for Ole Miss. I'll get to that in a minute. But on the Georgia side, Colby Branch also homered. Fernando Gonzalez, their catcher, who's having a nice year, had 4 hits. No Charlie Condon mentioned here, or Corey Collins for that matter. Those guys have been tremendous, both of them. But Georgia's got a lineup of a lot of guys that can hit. We saw that last night. Leighton Finley gave them 5 innings of 6 earned run ball. Look, that's not a great line, but when you got that lineup, you just need guys to eat innings. They've got a little bit of a thin pitching staff. And so that was probably a better outing than meets the eye in terms of that series. Corey Collins, I did mention him briefly. He's got a 25-game on-base streak that is now intact. Ole Miss started well for the Rebels. Home runs for Andrew Fisher, Will Furnace in the first inning. Didn't matter. Ole Miss had defensive meltdowns. They had errors the first 4 innings. Rebels have now been run ruled in 4 of their past 13 SEC games. Little momentum that Ole Miss got from that series win over Mississippi State last weekend maybe started to disappear a little bit last night. We'll see how the Rebels respond in the next couple of games. All right, this one surprised me. LSU 12, Missouri 1 in 7 innings. Missouri been playing well. LSU had not. Maybe that's just a product of the schedule. But anyway, I think LSU had 4 home runs last night, got to Logan Lunsford early in that one. Tell me what you saw in Columbia last night.
Yeah, also Gage Jump on the bump to start that game.
Yeah.
And obviously, it ended in 7 innings. He went the full game, complete game for him. It's 14 strikeouts, 3 hits, and 1 earned run. Incredible start for him. Might be, I would imagine Luke Holman maybe has a better start thrown in there this year. But besides him, that's the best start I think we've seen from an LSU pitcher this season to date. But the hitting, 13 total team hits for LSU. Ashton Larson, 3 for 3 with an RBI. Tommy White, 2 for 5 with a run. Paxton Kling, 2 for 5 with an RBI. Jared Jones, 2 RBIs and 3 runs for him. And then Hayden Travinsky got really active as well. 4 RBIs and 2 runs. Home runs by Stephen Milam, Brady Neal, Travinsky, and Jared Jones. They all had homers as well. And like you said, Lunsford just really just got pounced on early, and that was the end of it. It was 8-0, by the time the 3rd inning was around. And Missouri, I don't know if I'd put a lot into their offense coming back down 8-0, but it just wasn't in the cards for the Tigers today, or I guess the Missouri Tigers, and it was in the cards for LSU, who needed a game like this, I guess, to start this series that they should be able to win.
Yeah, when LSU get to start like that from Gage Jump, you're right. Holman's been their guy, but Jump giving him, I think he struck out 13 or 14, something like that. He's a UCLA transfer, very talented. It's been very hit and miss with him. LSU's still in this discussion to get in a regional. I think D1 had the Tigers there this week. But if they can get Gage Jump to step up and pitch like that, look, it's Missouri. It's probably the worst offense in the league. But still, LSU's pitching and not been good against much of anybody lately. I think that was a big deal for LSU if it's going to get back in the regional mix, which that's a good start, winning a game in Missouri. All right, next up, we got Arkansas and South Carolina. This is everything that you would expect when Arkansas plays baseball. In typical Arkansas fashion, this turned into a pitcher's duel. The last out came last night. I think Arkansas had an intentional walk and got a Parker Nolan ground out. Stone Hewlett was a guy on the mound to get the save. Arkansas scored its runs on a wild pitch and a sac fly. South Carolina scored its on the ground out. So you got all these video game scores everywhere else where and then Arkansas and South Carolina play a hold my beer game. We're going to go old school back to the dead ball era of the 19 teens of Major League Baseball is the way that went down in Columbia, which is a place where the ball can get out. But what you want to do is you want to keep the ball on the ground. Hagen Smith did that. I think there were just 2 flyouts against him. Was not his best night. He struggled with his control. 6 innings pitched, 5 walks, and a hit batsman. But the problem is you can't hit Hagen Smith, and South Carolina did not do that. Just 2 singles. So Arkansas, after losing a series to Alabama last weekend, takes game 1 in Columbia. Very, very good win for the Razorbacks. Next up, Kentucky, Tennessee. This is the game that you were glued to last night. I was watching a little bit of that as well, along with watching Vandy, Florida. What did you see in this one?
Yeah, shout out Kentucky for an attendance record that they set last night for this game, and it was pretty obvious, pretty likely they'd do it with it being a top 5 matchup. I don't know if that's happened there recently, both them being top 5 and their opponent being top 5, but the crowd was very good there last night for I was watching, and really a good pitching night throughout most the first half of the game. Trey Poozer was on the mound for the Cats. 6 innings of work, 4 strikeouts, only 1 walk to the Volunteers. So he was forcing Tennessee to hit the ball if they wanted to get on base. He did give up 5 hits for 3 earned runs. Those came off of a Hunter Ensley 2-run homer. And then Christian Moore scored Cal Stark on an RBI knock. Chris Stamos got the start for Tennessee, but he only went a third. That was just because people got on base, and I guess Vitale felt a change was needed. And the change was A.J. Causey, who has starter experience this season. Causey had a pretty good start, 6 1/3, 7 strikeouts. The only run he gave up through the first 6 innings was Ryan Walschmidt hitting a homer, and Tennessee led the game 3-1 through 7. Causey led on a few batters in the 7th inning, and that forced Nate Snead to take over on the mound, and Kentucky just pounced on that. Ryan Nicholson scored on a bases-loaded ground-out play. Emilian Petrie has a 2-run double. And then Nolan McCarthy, this is the 8th inning, but he hits a solo shot to kind of cap off the win for Kentucky. Pretty even and competitive game throughout. Like I said, Poozer and Causey were very stout in giving up hits, or at least giving up runs. They were giving up hits, in their own ways. But at the same time, they just were able to get out of jams throughout the game. And then Tennessee just couldn't avoid that 7th inning jam they had when Nate Snead came in, and Kentucky would go on to win 5-3. But competitive series. Continue to watch today and tomorrow because it's going to be some very good baseball.
Yeah, it felt like, and I was intermittent with my watching, but it felt like A.J. Causey was just kind of, I'm not going to say in control, but had Tennessee in a good spot. But what Kentucky does is it strings runners together. I saw a bunt hit in one of those innings. You look up, they've got the bases loaded, doing it the way Kentucky does it. And the way they keep the ball on the ground and held that offense down last night for Tennessee, I saw a lot of fly balls short of the warning track. I don't think it always carries in that park very well. Just a very Kentucky-like way to win that one last night.
For sure, yeah. You said that too. There were a lot. Dalton Bargo, I think, had 2 flyouts into the outfield that were short. Kavaris Tears, same thing. He had one that was short as well. Even the Hunter Ensley homer was right off the wall and over. So
Yeah,
he didn't fully get it out, I guess, but he even had to like get a little luck from the good Lord above for that home run. So yeah, we'll have to see. But
yeah.
I think it'll be a very good series going forward. And I know Tennessee won't, back down. They could use this series win. Kentucky really can put a stamp on themselves if they win this series here. So we'll just have to see, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Kentucky now 15-1, which is just incredible. All right, wrapping them up.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State 8, Auburn 1. Khal Stephen, the Purdue transfer for State, who's been so good, gives State another ace-like outing. He goes 7 innings, gives up 1 run, 11 strikeouts. Tyler Davis goes a 2-inning scoreless save. So your State, you kind of save your bullpen in that one. Bryce Chance had a home run for the Bulldogs. Connor Husak had 2 hits, 2 RBIs. For Auburn, the pitching and the starting pitching in particular, it's just been troublesome for Butch Thompson. Dylan Watson, this one was actually okay. I think in the SEC these days, a 4-inning start with 2 earned runs isn't bad. You'd like your starter to go longer, but that's life in college baseball these days. The bullpen, which is kind of their strength, and I don't think they threw John Armstrong last night, so they got their best arm out there just in case, but they were not good, as they've not been good most of the year. 7 walks, 6 runs in 3 innings pitched. Offense, which is pretty good, had 8 hits, but it scattered them and had just 1 for extra bases. So Mississippi State, the RPI at 52 as of this morning. I don't really understand that team's RPI. They keep winning some good games, and the RPI seems to go nowhere. I still think that's a regional team. We'll see where that goes. All right, we'll see where things on Saturday go. We'll be back with the wrap-up. We'll have it out either probably late Saturday night or maybe Sunday afternoon, depending on schedules. And then we'll wrap the series up later. Got power rankings coming. We started predictions. So all kinds of baseball content coming as my schedule finally frees up. For Alfred Ezman, I'm Chris Lee. You're watching Southeastern 14, presented by BetOnline.